Hey guys, if you like this content, I would greatly appreciate it if you guys liked the video and subscribed to my channel. It helps make these videos worth it going forward.
What's up, guys? Altcoin Sherpa here with a crypto market review. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm not an expert. Do your own research. Okay, so is this the end? Is Bitcoin dead? In a bear market? Are we going to zero? The honest answer is that I don't know. Personally, we are just about at the level that I'm expecting, around 37K. And if you've watched my videos the last few weeks, you've known that I had the bias of looking at that 37K area for a few reasons. Number one, I compared this consolidation in May, June, and July um, to this current price action that we're seeing. Although I will admit that the overall market structure and consolidation, like price action of this move, is very different than what we're seeing right now. So, um, if you compare the past price action of the summer of 2021 to current, this is kind of what I was looking at. I was looking at some of these lows back established in January of 2021. And to me, this was the last bullish consolidation pattern that we saw before this move up, and like this was a bull flag and a bullish consolidation just because of the amount of time spent there, like the way that price moved, the overall price action, etc. Um, and price established these lows at 28.7K, and obviously this was the distribution phase up here where price went and nuked much lower. What's important to note is that during the consolidation phase, price was able to tap these former levels established back in January. On some exchanges, it wicked past it. As you can see, 28.2K. I mean, the bottom line is that this demand area in January held up strong. And this area, even though in the consolidation period, this got wicked out. So technically, this was like a lower low compared to like the January consolidation. Price was still holding, and obviously, you know what happened next. We bottomed out, and then we went to all-time highs. Now, contextually, I was very, very scared of losing this area here before. Like you'll notice, like early on, maybe in like December, I was like, oh, I do not want 39.5K to get tapped out. And the reason was that to me, this was the last true low that we saw. Like this was in September, this was the last low. This was the higher low compared to the July lows. This was a higher low. So we have low, higher low, like high, higher high, and higher high again. So to me, this was the last true low that we saw back in September, and I was like, okay, like if we are bullish here, we should be able to have a higher low compared to these lows back in September. However, when I looked back at the January price action, comparing it to May and June and July, I noticed that some of these lows did get wicked out. Now, again, you generally will see these violent moves on the first strong wick down. For the initial wick, this will be like the strongest wick, and that's when it happened. Relative to this situation where we saw like the strong wick from 70 basically to 40. But since then, like I'm a little bit concerned, I will admit, because the price action is quite a bit different from July and June compared to what we're seeing right now. Like if you notice right here, this looks more almost like a kind of reaccumulation type of pattern where you see like you're seeing like wicks down, but every time they're getting bought back up. And even though price, had this one final shakeout, and this is what I was really looking for if you looked at some of my recent videos too, where price, hit these range highs and then went negative 30%, lower high here around 36K, and then it grinded back down lower. and everybody was like super fucking bearish. Myself, like I was like really scared at this point. And then obviously we know that we saw the God candle come up, and strong volume follow up, and then we were okay. So to me, I was really like, I'm a little bit worried about this because this right here, this type of price action that we're seeing right now looks more, I will admit, like distribution than any sort of reaccumulation. We're not seeing these strong wicks down. We're not seeing anything getting bought back up. Um, we are like, there's like an empty void, as you can see here. Like this is like an inefficiency that never got filled out. We recently did fill it out, but we're not really seeing these wicks into the demand area that are getting bought up quite yet. And what I was really looking for, unfortunately, it never happened yet, was I was looking for like some sort of move up to like the range highs. I don't know, call it 50K or something like that. And then I was looking for some sort of spike down to 37K. This would have been much more encouraging to me because it would have mimicked the price action that we saw in May. Like negative 30% move down, go up to 36K. We see like a negative 30% move down to 37K or something like that. Wick down, strong buying with high sell volume, and sellers are getting exhausted. And um, at that point, we would hit like a lower high and then like revisit it, and then we're golden. Um, this to me would have been a lot more bullish, and I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't see this happen. Um, because I do believe that bottoms often form after we see like a strong wick. And what I mean by that is not just this initial wick. I mean like another wick or two later on. Like for here back in June, like from June 15th to like June 21st, this was just like a nightmare scenario where we went negative 30%. Everybody was very bearish, and this is the type of price action that you really want to see for bottoms to form. What we're seeing right here is we're seeing this kind of slow grind down, and I don't like this slow grind down. Um, I want to see more volatility, um, and then I want to see more of a grind after that. But we're just seeing straight grinding. We're not seeing much volatility. Usually, what you want to see a lot of. So this is the type of price action that you want to see generally. Is you want to see something like a big spike down, lots of volatility at the start of the pattern, and then maybe like one last shakeout, and then you want to see like a slow grind with tight candles, not much volatility, not much volume. That's what you generally want to see. What we're seeing right now is we're seeing more just like, we saw the big nuke down, and then we saw like a lower high, and then we're just seeing like this slow grind like this. That's it. That's it. Not much. Not much volatility, not much wicking into demand areas, similar to what we saw in May, in June and July. Um, so that to me is a little bit concerning, I will admit. Now, what is the bottom? Let's mark some support areas here. To me, support area is 37K. That's the area that I was long looking at. And things get very bad, it would be 29K. It's important to note that this is a high volume node area. This is volume profile. So anywhere from 32K to right around now 40K, this is like a fat area where traders like to trade Bitcoin at. And there should be support around this area. I just don't really know where, because this entire price action all throughout June and July, this is very choppy, and it's very confusing and not very clean to me to really find clean levels. It would make sense to me if price did a wick below this 37K area. And what I'm really looking for is I would really like to see price kind of hit up, mid high 40s and then wick down below. I really want to see that wick. I mean, you probably have heard that from me before. The wick is really where you find, one last shakeout is really where you find the bottom, in my opinion. I don't like this slow grind down because the slow grind down really kind of reminds me of just like a distribution. Now, in terms of where the bottoms could form, I would say 37, like a little bit below 37, maybe 35 or 36 would be like kind of the area to look at. There will be liquidity below those lows. And that this area, again, this is like a very choppy area all throughout June and July. There aren't really very clean levels to me. I just don't know where this level could be. I mean, maybe 35K, I don't know. But the question is now, does Bitcoin like go higher up before grabbing new lows? So like, do we like kind of make another kind of bearish retest at like 47 and then go lower? Don't really know at this point. To me, I'm really just looking for two things. I'm looking for either like this big nasty wick down, or I'm looking for the God candle. The God candle is this right here. This is like a God candle right here. It might not look like much, but contextually, when you see the plus 11% after we see these big nukes, then and with follow up too. That's the important thing too. With follow up, that is the important thing. Okay, so what is my plan from here? My plan is I still strongly believe that 50 plus K is coming. I still strongly believe that. I do believe that we'll hit that area before like 30K. So like it would make a lot of sense to me if this grinded up, go up to like 55 to 60K, and then we see it, and then at that point we see it's possible that we see 30K. I am not going to say that yet. But to me, this is the area where I'm de-risking. This is still my plan, and this is still what I believe will happen. I still believe that 55 to 60K will happen. If we are bearish, that is. So like this is the area where I'm de-risking. I'm definitely going to sell a lot of positions at this point. To me, the key after this point would be where the low is set. So if you look back at the May, June, July consolidation period, and we made a lower high compared to back in April, obviously. This is a lower high, right? Compared to the May highs. And to me, the key was really where this low was set, right here. Of course, now in hindsight, it's easy to see that this was the higher low compared to some of these these July lows. And if you look on lower time frame charts, it was higher than this August low as well. So when this printed a higher low, and the ultimate confirmation was when this 53K area got broken here, to me this was a bullish market structure. So if we compare it here to this price action back then, it would make a lot of sense to me to see something like this, where we find a bottom here, or I don't know where it's going to be, and then we hit some sort of lower high compared to the November highs, and then we'll look to see where the low is set. If we set some sort of higher low, similar to September, then I think that things are still okay. If we hit like a higher high, even better. So this is like my overall plan, and I will admit the price has gone lower than I thought. I don't really like this slow grinding price action. I would prefer to see more wicks down into demand area. That would be a little bit more comforting to me, I guess. And I'm also starting to come around to the idea too that 2022 could just be a massive range. With all of the Fed hikes and all the stuff going on in macro, obviously we're seeing tech stocks dump. It's actually possible, and I'm starting to come more around to this idea, that we play this overall range in 2022. We spent 2021 in like this kind of Weird period where we went from 30K to 60K, down all the way back to 30K, and then up to 70K, and now we're heading back lower again. And so I learned a lot on this recent move up from 30 to 70K. I remembered that Bitcoin needs a lot longer to accumulate for its hard moves. It's not like an altcoin where it can just start moving like really at the speed of light with not much accumulation period. Liquidity really is it's much more significant in altcoins, of course, because there's not as much liquidity compared to Bitcoin. And if you look at the overall price action back in 2020, we had long periods of accumulation. It didn't look like accumulation at the time, but it really was accumulation. So if you look back at these charts in 2020, we had long periods where price really did nothing. Price was like not very volatile. Look at these like the thin range that price had in 2020. It's like pretty amazing to look at, honestly. And this is why altcoins flourished too, of course, in 2020. And this is like the start of when altcoins really started to recover. So what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that 2020 was really spent all year accumulating. That's why Bitcoin was able to have the run that it did from 10 to 60K. Like 10 to 60K was like an incredible run, obviously. And when I had the bias that Bitcoin was really going to run from these 30K levels all the way up to 70, I really felt strongly, and I had like the largest Bitcoin position since 2020 in late 2021. This like I had the largest Bitcoin position, my own holdings, because I had conviction that once Bitcoin really starts to run, it's going to go hard. However, I was blindly bullish. Or I was bullish, and I didn't really think too much contextually of what it takes to really move Bitcoin, especially in 2020, where price shopped around for quite some time. And Bitcoin really needs to establish a base, in my opinion, like a higher base before it really runs hard. And the idea is that the longer that Bitcoin chops in this range and continues to accumulate, then the harder it's going to run when it finally does run. I don't know when it's going to be or where. It's entirely possible that, as I said, price hangs around in a large range for much of 2022. I've started to come more around to this idea, and macro has a large part in that. Macro, like I told you, with all the stuff that's very uncertain right now with the rate hikes and everything like that, it's entirely possible that Bitcoin just is in a range from 70K to 30K, and we see like stuff like this, or I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm starting to come around more and more to this idea. And when the end of 2022 happens, then that's when it really starts to move hard. But this is kind of like my overall macro idea as of right now. Like, I still am bullish, but I will say that my bull case is more turning into a consolidation phase for 2022. I'm less married to the idea that Bitcoin is going to just like break all-time highs easily in 2022, maybe end of 2022. I don't know. Like, it seems like such a long way away. And it's funny looking at traditional markets as well, because like there's so much uncertainty there, and like we're used to it in crypto, but it's really interesting to see that happen in macro as well. So I know this video is a little bit longer. Hopefully you guys are not too destroyed by this move. I do believe if my idea of ranging happens in 2022, then we will see like some pretty good opportunities for altcoins. And I know many of you guys don't even have any Bitcoin anyway, but you have to understand that Bitcoin it dictates the entire market as always. So anyways, be safe out there, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video.